So, welcome to the Cosmic Rebel podcast. And today I am so excited, and I've been looking forward to speaking with this amazing lady for a long time. So, I'm going to introduce you now to my beautiful guest, Dr. Jo Whitaker. And without further ado, Dr. Jo, would you love to introduce yourself, please, to our gorgeous followers?
Oh, thank you so much for your kind words. I've been following your messages as well. And I thought, wow, this girl she's totally on it, which is absolutely brilliant. So I'm really pleased to be here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Yeah, just obviously just call me Jo, but I'm a spiritual scientist. So I've my first degrees in genetics, in oncology, in immunology, and I've worked a lot with new technologies along that way. But when I detoxed my pineal gland, I was able to see much bigger things. And for me, having a technical background, I've really deep dived into I guess what I really want to call it is spiritual science, because it's not woo-woo, it's quantum physics. And today, everybody, if you can grab yourself a glass of water and a pendulum, we're going to do a live experiment today, which is going to blow your minds. And well, I'll speak about the real power of water. And I know a lot of people know this, but we're going to really embed this today, because when you understand how to work with water, you can transform so many things.
Yeah, water is life. And that is something that I always tell myself, and I share this with my clients and community as well, that unless we've got the highest quality water, we really are not able to, really access the depth of the healing and transformation within our physical body and decalcify the pineal gland, like you say, and all these other amazing knock-on happenings that come from simply water. So this is what I'm loving to speak with you about today, and I'm so excited to be doing this experiment live with you, to excite everyone else as well.
Great. Yeah, so you were saying that, water is actually it's hydrogen and oxygen, as we know. We might think about it as H2O, but we know that water actually exists with different bonds. You might get H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide, or H3O2, and there's all these different forms of water. But really, on a quantum level, hydrogen has a particular frequency band and oxygen has a frequency band. And in the quantum state of the universe, there is only vortexes, and vortexes are either spinning clockwise or anti-clockwise, depending on how you're looking at it. So if you were to get a screw, or and you were to look at one end compared to the other, you're looking at the same thing, but from a different perspective. And in reality, in which we exist, we expect to see things in a particular orientation of spin. However, we are exploding out, if you like,
Yeah.
from another place, and that's the different perspective. So we're going to do a bit of a pendulum dowsing today, just to have a look and see the quantum spin of the water, and
Mm.
whether or not it's having a beneficial effect on us, or it is draining us.
Yeah, because we don't often think or contemplate that something as simple as water, which we're always told to drink lots of,
Hmm.
could affect us negatively. And, anybody that's, this is tap water. It's not been through anything other than the tap. And you'd think that was quite innocent and harmless. But, when you really know, and I studied with David Wolfe many, many years ago. I did his whole superfood nutrition course, and the emphasis placed on water was a great part of that, and living water, so it's really important that we explore that, I feel, and make better choices with what we put into our body and onto our body as well.
You've made two really great points there. So, in the last 5 years, I've been teaching people how to detox from the parasites, heavy metals, and everything in your body. So, for me, I've got a 5-step process. If you find me on Facebook, there's a video of this. I've put it elsewhere. But what I found out was that people were going to supplements, and actually, that's the last place you go. I found that 50% of people got rid of allergies, got rid of lethargy, got rid of all sorts of things from the water. So the primary thing is the water, and because it is so, it looks like it's abundant, it's all the same thing everywhere. People just don't place an emphasis on it because they don't understand the power of the water.
Mm.
And so this is what I've discovered, that another point that you're saying, the physical side of things, but when you start connecting with water and it is the right type of water, it expands your mind more than any mushroom trip you will ever do on
Oh,
a daily basis.
oh, I'm loving that.
It is, and so the reason why I found this out is because I was doing the detoxing and explaining all this kind of stuff. So, but then I was really, really drawn to water. Actually, as soon as my pineal gland got detoxed, I realised I was a grid worker because I was going to places, thinking I was going to stones, but really I was connecting to the water information in the water, which is held within the stones, because this is what you always see around there, around these kind of places, is you've usually got something like granite or quartz sand. Granite's got crystal. In fact, granite has little bits of actually pockets of water in. So
Mm,
granite has water crystals and obviously the stone. And when you think about it, that's carbon in a particular matrix, and it's water and it's crystals. Now, crystals, like quartz crystal, it's the same structure as structured water. It's actually hexagonal and it can hold a frequency. So
wow.
when I started to go to these places and really do, the grid work and collect water, which we'll also talk about today, collect water from various ancient sites, not only was I going there to, this is what my calling was, I've got to go and balance the land. I kept saying, it's got to bring it back to the organic earth template grid. And I didn't know other people did this, right? It was just something that kind of came to me. And then I found out it's a thing, right? It isn't it? But I also realized that I was getting information from this water. And
Mm,
in each of these sites, with all the ley lines, are supposed to be all connected up, all the information is supposed to flow. And when you drink, you're supposed to be taking in this knowledge, which is encoded in the water. But what they've done is they've blocked the ley lines, they don't communicate
yeah.
with each other. And that's why you have to go to these different places right now in order to unlock various codes. Whereas really it should be everywhere. And this is also the same as grounding. We get told that grounding is really important, but because of the blockages in the Earth grid, you might not necessarily be getting all the information out of the Earth grid in various places because they've
Mm,
deliberately, blocked that up. So the grid workers are doing an amazing job. And if that's you, thank you so much for everything that you're
yes.
doing, because this
Thank
is
you.
not consciousness. So, yeah. Does that make sense? But yeah, well, what I said, that there's a two-way exchange of information when you go to these sites, and it's through water.
Yeah, it totally makes sense to me. And I'm in awe, like you are, of the grid workers because, we're all waking up to the fact that we've been invited into or we've contracted to come into this body right now for a particular reason. And the roles that we have are all very specific once we accept the mission kind of thing. And so I'm an earth guardian. So I'm working with plant intelligence, tree energies, and that kind of thing, but also bringing down the codes as well in different ways. It's not necessarily for the water, but there's a great pull to water at certain times. And I just say, luckily for us, we live quite in the now in a very fluid way. So I just say to Ant, my husband, I said, we need to go to the water today. And we literally will drop everything we can, rearrange things, and get to a wild body of water somewhere for whatever reason. I don't even question the reason. I just have to go. Um,
Mhm.
and whether I'm bringing something back or taking something there by my presence or whatever. And like you say, the stones carry it, this I'm always encouraging people to meet stone beings because they're attached to the giants and the giants' intelligence of the land that we don't even recognize anymore and all that kind of thing. So there's so many different elements. I love it. And half the time I don't question it, I just do and respond to what
Mhm.
I'm being guided to do. So yeah, I love the roles that we're being shown we've got.
Brilliant. And I really love what you've just said about you get called to a place. I'm going to bring something into the conversation today to maybe make things really different. I'm going to transform the way that you may even want to do this work in the future, because I'm going to tell you something we figured out, which they have figured out long time ago, and they're using it. So imagine at the moment, we are going to these places and we're bringing in codes and we're going there ourselves. Brilliant. At the same time that this is happening, there are artifacts and things placed in the ground doing the opposite. And pretty much what we often end up doing is either neutralizing the frequencies that they've put in. You imagine like noise cancelling headphones. It is equal up frequency, and then put in our own codes. But at the moment, there's like kind of almost like a constant battle. But once we figure out, actually, there's certain things that we can do, right? Here's the first thing. We can, instead of just embedding the codes in ourselves and that particular rock, etc., we can embed these codes in matter, in carbon. So people kind of understand this concept of programming a crystal, and this is where the stones are there. But so they get the stones. This is what I've been doing for ages, right? So I've got a collection of stones everywhere, and they're in my house, and I've gone to all these exciting places. Or if I've been lucky, I've brought back the water without it being destroyed. But then it's in my garden, and then my job, I then go, oh, I need to take it to that place and this place, and I'm putting the codes in, right? However, what we've discovered is if you then transfer that code of information. So let's say I've got a lump of rock here from the Bosnian pyramids. And
Mm.
I do have this, right, guys?
Wow.
And I put it in the water. The codes then go in the water.
Mm.
Once it's in the water, I can hold this water up to the screen. You can hold your glass of water, and the codes will instantly transfer to your glass, and you then have them.
Yes.
We can also, so we don't have to go and meet and swap rocks. We can literally do it like this. And I'll prove to everybody this is possible. And this is how we make these. We've got two things here. We make these quantum water chargers. And I'll
Amazing.
talk to you about how we've got those here. So this gives frequency codes downloaded from nature. And actually, that's a photograph of the actual frequency. So this
Mm.
protects this and locks this. So if anybody else decides to make this sticker and go, all right, I'm going to put my own nefarious frequencies in, they can't. That's the lock. That's literally the lock. There's nothing they can do about it. But actually, we also have a lock within there. So once we make our own, these are locked. And I work with Kelly Heinsohn. Her backstory is absolutely amazing. She brings down frequencies from nature, aka God, aka source. Same thing, frequency codes. It's where it's all the same thing. And when those frequencies are within us, because we are source, it resonates at the frequencies we hold, and it boosts our biofield. And there's a little video I can show people
Oh,
about that.
yeah, we'll
But
put that in links as well, definitely.
thank you. But really, if we understand that we can embed codes into matter, whenever you go to the pyramids or these places and you see all these stone circles and you see these geometries, people are kind of obsessed about the geometry. Now, and what does it mean and what's the code? I can tell you that the geometry is creating the structure within which the frequency is, and the frequency is the information.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at hieroglyphs and things like this, we're not just looking at that and the frequency of that shape. There is embedded in that a code, and depends on the shape, depends on where that is going to resonate. So a little bit like if I play a recorder now in my room and I go, I've got a square room, an oblong room, and it will resonate because it will bounce off the walls within this structure,
Yeah.
right? And which is made of matter, which is made of carbon. But if I was going to go do or whatever, then I've got information. I can do the SOS signal. So this is where I'm tuning into a radio station, and that's almost like the structure frequency. But within that, there's information frequency. So I'm listening to a song on Radio 1. I can listen to the same song on Heart FM or whatever. And so when we're looking at geometry, geometry and frequency information come together. And that's where I feel at the moment with what's out there, and it's probably deliberately puzzling, right? We're
Mhm.
looking at frequency codes, but which one is it? We're talking about the carbon, the hydrogen, and the oxygen, because one of them creates the framework, the matrix within which the information, which is the frequency of hydrogen and oxygen, then resonates. And
Mm,
you have the same frequency, but in a different structure, a different matrix, and it will sound and resonate differently. And this is where the, the cube frequency, that's what that is there for, because it doesn't matter how nice the frequency is in when it's resonated within the cube compared with the other structures of reality, it doesn't have the same impact. And this is where drinking structured water, hexagonal water, is really important,
wow.
because when the frequencies then come within you, you can hold those frequencies and they're resonating within you correctly. But
Mm,
if you go to the sound bath, for instance, and this is where you go to sound bath, it's really nice at that time. You go home, you wake up tomorrow and it's gone. You haven't held your frequency.
mm,
And a lot of people waking up, and this is what I realized about structured water, what was happening. Instead of me like going up and down and up and down, when I started to structure the water in my body, becoming more crystalline,
mm,
I can hold my frequency much more. I don't have to sit here and really focus on not this, not worrying about that. It just becomes natural because I've now, once I decide to do something, I can hold it. And I'm a very biohack kind of lazy person in that respect. I can't always remember to be in the right frame of mind. So I program myself at the beginning of the day. I've held my frequency. I don't have to think about it again. I just have to kind of do it on a bit of a daily basis because of what's
yeah,
going on. So
yeah,
that's why the structure of things and the geometries are important, but in the context of then of the frequencies, which are held by hydrogen and oxygen, which is basically water. Your DNA is basically water.
yeah. I know it's mind blowing, isn't it? And it's just like, I just love this. I absolutely love it. And the way you're explaining it, I so hope that our listeners get it. You know, I suggest that they listen to this several times and just allow each point of realization to really hit home how amazingly simple this is.
Beautiful.
Because a lot of the time we can get caught up in a process instead of just going, right, one done, I'm on my day and it's been an amazing day. No matter what they throw at me, I'm sorted, you know?
You know what, you said that so beautifully. So in this water that I do, right? So I've put this in the naturally high vibrations, which we've got, okay? And we know it's not like it's not a synthetic frequency. It is the high vibrations of nature resonating with the core of me, and I know my body feels big. I don't just stop there though. I
Mm,
program this water for what I intend. So I say things like um I attract everything that I need. Nothing bad ever enters my field. Any challenges I can quickly overcome. I can see my path very clearly. I can manifest instantaneously. I know what I need to manifest. I have clarity. Right. So I program the water. Guess what? Especially once I've done that, and I said, and this is in here and it cannot be unlocked and it is permanent the way. I don't have to get up and do any kind of major long sessions every morning. I just literally put this on me. It is now in my field.
amazing.
And because some days you wake up and you're like, I'm not feeling it today. So you're not programming yourself right. So
Yeah.
find yourself go and sit in nature, find yourself a bottle, get it all worked up, make sure you lock that information in, and then you can just go spray. And, that's how easy it is. And
Yeah.
then you can also use this anywhere you go. So I also program the water for the land. So I don't, because sometimes I go somewhere I'm like, oh, don't like that
Mm,
cenotaph thing there.
yeah.
And I haven't got time really to mess around, but I've always got some water with me with frequency codes with intention, and I'll just drop it on and walk because that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's how easy it can be.
That's amazing because there is so much disharmony, like we've already talked about, with the way that man has altered this beautiful land of ours, in favor of their need, their greed, and we know like Milton Keynes, for example, used to be my husband's family farm was right in the middle of Milton Keynes. And we know that they've programmed the whole of Milton Keynes
Yeah.
for particular purposes and built it on a crystal grid. And it's like there are grid workers around Milton Keynes area constantly having to, for example, work with those and rebalance the frequencies of that place rather than sucking the life out of people and making them slaves forever. So I feel this is really important for all the grid workers out there, whatever work you're doing with the earth grids and the high dimensional planes, that this is something that could really maybe help you.
It's a thank you very much for that. And by the way, I have proven that this actually works. And I would love you guys to see just how simple it is. We get taught sometimes things are complicated. I think it's our learning process we have to know, but I'm always one to try and make it simple. So I brought some pyramid water back from the Bosnian pyramids. It's a very transformational place. It's full of plasma energy, which is a complex structure of hydrogen and oxygen together. It's what orbs are made of. It's what our blood's made of. Our DNA is plasma. So it's very easy to connect into things. So I brought back the water from the Dragon Pyramid, the Sun and the Moon Pyramid, but I was specifically on a mission to find the Dragon Pyramid water, which I didn't know existed, but it was a very magical adventure. I found it quite, guided to find it. And I got it back through customs
Yeah,
and without getting x-rayed or anything. So I have some.
amazing.
And what I did, I said, I know we need to put this information back into our grid. That's what I knew I needed to do. So I gave out some of this water. So I've got it in bottles, and because you only need a drop of information, and then it will replicate basically in the plain water you put it in. In fact, even if you put, this is why we have to distinguish between toxic water and information. I can still put good information in toxic water. The information is the information. And by
Yeah.
the way, it's gone into Buxton spring water. So everybody that drinks Buxton
Oh,
spring water,
wow.
well, so I'll put it into that line. So I mean, I know what they do to it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't destroy the information. So it's in there now. So sorry about that, whoever owns Buxton, but you've been making that for a long time now. So it's all there's nothing you
Yeah.
can do about it.
Can you do
Um,
upset spring as well, please?
So if I see, so we can do some transformation today,
Yeah,
and
let's
if I
do it.
want to take I probably need to go and find where my bottle is. It's not too far away, actually. So there.
Yeah, no problem. This is so exciting.
But exactly, because then we can do this, right? So I'm hoping that the good workers go, well, I've got this from here, or I've got a stone from here. I drop it in your water. Let's go and do this energy transfer, because this can go viral, but for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So when I went to Buxton, I I'd never been to Buxton before, but I was meeting a friend there, and she said we should go to Buxton. I want to see what you do on the water side of things. So I had my pre-programmed water because I'm efficient. And when we went to where the water is, I noticed at the top there's a cenotaph, and I was like, that I know why that's there. So I got my pendulum out, went there, had a nice good feel around, and it was spinning anti-clockwise, and it was, full of, energy harvesting information. So I just put a drop, and I went to go and check the water down the bottom of the hill in the tap thing, and it was warm. It's quite warm actually, the water from Buxton. So
Mm.
anyway, I went up to the top, put the drops of water on, had a little sit and think. I thought it was quite powerful. I needed to kind of really oomph it, and I did. And I went down and checked the water at the bottom. It it was like 12 degrees hotter.
Wow.
Completely changed the energies. So you can feel it. You feel this wave, don't you, when you spin it on a quantum physics level, you're spinning the atoms the different way. It's going clockwise, but
Wow.
you could measure it. And I went to Arbelo,
Okay.
been many times before, put it in there. There wasn't any water there, is there? So I was like, I wanted a rainbow. I've seen things like rainbows and things like that appear before, but there wasn't. But I went up to go and walk, because I had bare feet on, and the ley lines were hot. I mean, foot spa hot. And
Wow.
this is called an entropy change when you spin things the other way around. So I know a lot of people have done their work on Arbolo, and they have. Look out for these things because there's so much information we need to put in there, and,
Mm.
and let's share it around and let's get it to the world. Because for instance, so that then what I did is I got that water, I transformed some quartz crystal that is going to be now buried in Uluru on the ley line there. So
Wow.
we can connect it, but that had to go on a journey. And now I'm thinking, all I needed to do was find somebody, hold my glass of water, and that's it. It would have been there. So all these complicated things that I've been doing before, guys and girls, it's so easy to do this. We can really transfer information in our water in various places by using these tools, these devices they've created.
Yeah.
We flip them for the good.
Wow. That is fascinating, isn't it? I can't remember the geeky science part of the quantum physics. Um, is it the twin photon experiment where
Oh,
we
like this,
transferring from one place to another? Is that the twin photon experiment?
I actually don't know the name.
Uh,
And you know, and you know, since being a scientist and spent most of my life reading and researching, I don't read anything anymore. And people give me books to read, which I'm really grateful
yeah.
for, but I don't have time to read them. I'd rather because you can muddle your mind as well. And especially even stuff like, oh, this is what Tesla did and this is what this person did. There's always truth and there's always mistruth. And so I'd rather download something and then be shown it. And
Yeah.
I'd rather really experience it for myself.
I'm the
But
same. Definitely. You go to source because we are source. So, and I teach that way as well. I say you don't need to look to another teacher or a book. Go to them later, but ask first to be given the right information, whether it's from a plant, a stone, a tree, water, whatever. They've got the frequency they need, they're waiting to deliver to you. So always go to that first, and then you can go to your books,
definitely.
you know.
Definitely. I've spent a lot of time like exposing the academic world and literally you just don't know who's who. Go 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 within,
Yeah,
connect to source. That everything's there, all the information's there. And if you ever have a doubt, and this is the way that I look at these two grids, you've got the artificial matrix grid, and we're so connected to it, or many
yeah,
people are so connected to it, and they don't know why. And they're spending their time, really kind of meditating, looking into their lives and doing all this, that, and the other. And I think it's really draining. And if you understand how it is working, you don't have to be connected. So I have a really simplistic way of looking at trauma and negativity. This is literally what I say. So see what people think about this. I don't think our healing process should be difficult, long term, or traumatic.
mhm,
And I don't believe that we have come here to learn lessons. We've come here to do a job, and to do that, you have to learn some stuff to get there. But I don't think that there are people that are supposed to be incarnated here whose life is permanent trauma.
yeah,
It isn't fair. That isn't source consciousness. There's nothing bad in source consciousness. But there is bad stuff in the AI matrix grid. And
mm-hmm.
so the way that I look at it is whenever I have a negative thought, which pops into my head from time to time about anything,
Yeah,
and I could think to myself, is that my programming? Is that my DNA? Is that something just coming into my field? I could analyze that, but at the end of the day, if it's negative, it belongs to the AI matrix grid. So
yes.
I don't bother delete, I don't bother even delving into it. I just literally go, shut up. And and if it persists, because let's say it's a memory, because sometimes you get those things, I look at it with a knowing that it's not my thoughts, it's not from this source, it's not from the organic template, and therefore it doesn't belong. And I just go, oh, okay, love, light, right, go.
So,
I disassociated it. I just completely disassociate myself from that grid. That's all I see things in. You're either getting positive information, there's only love, there's only compassion, there's only positive in the source. Anything else is artificial. And I don't care how it came about or what your place was in that thing. It is artificial. Just just get it go. You don't need it. It's
Yeah,
not real.
I bloody love that. Oh my God. I hope everyone that listens to this goes and has a massive aha moment. And then that could be the quantum shift that they need. Do you know what I mean? Imagine how we can just transform our world when we wake up to that fact.
Yeah, they're literally there's just two grids here, and if you have anything negative, you just plugged into the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You don't need to feel any bad or good or guilt or kind of unpick it. It's just simply the artificial grid. So drop it, go and find something else to think about.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Amazing.
Because I mean, I'm not just saying that just to make life easy for everybody. That is actually how it's working.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
it is. So,
Exactly.
your brain's a computer. It is a computer, and it's just analyzing information. And the software code of the information that we're receiving is hydrogen and oxygen coded. And you've got to think to yourself, whenever I'm thinking a thought, where is that thought coming from? Is it
Mm,
from my DNA, which has been programmed? And is it from an external place, or is it from source? That's all you need to do. And
yeah.
if it's good, it's from source. If
Yeah.
it's not, it's not. So forget it. Just
Amazing. Amazing. I can't wait for people to listen to this, honestly, and feedback what their
yeah,
thoughts are about this and if they implement it, any of what we're talking about today, I want to know, and I'm sure you would, how that's
yeah.
changed your life, you know?
I'd love to hear that. And you might find, Kate, that whenever you get a negative thought come through, I'll give you an example. It can be something about what you've done or a bad thing that's happened. You could be walking along, this just happens sometimes. And I look at somebody and a judgment comes into my head. Oh God, what are they doing? And I go, shut off.
Check
That's the
yourself.
good. That's the good. I don't have to analyze myself about why I'm thinking that and going to this. It's literally the AI matrix grid. And it might come up a couple of times. You do the same thing. You don't pay any attention. Do not give it any energy, emotion. Leave it. And I'd love to hear back from people to keep practicing this because you'll find fewer and fewer times. I actually know when I'm not in source consciousness because it's rare, because all my thoughts are positive.
Yeah.
And that's And so when it happens, I'm like, ooh, great, an opportunity to get rid of something.
Yeah.
I see it as a positive thing. I'm looking forward to when a negative thought comes in my head. That's the stage that I've got to. And I haven't done it, and I'm not magical. I haven't done all this really hard work. I just literally have worked out we're living in a
Yeah.
simulation, guys. What you plug it into.
Exactly. And it is as easy. You could physically do it if you want to play with this, is you can pretend you've got the cord that's plugged into the matrix, unplug it, take it over there, plug it into the source consciousness.
Yeah.
And that is basically what we're doing with quantum healing. We're just unplugging one matrix and plugging it back into source. And that is so transformational, you know. And want to get this work to everyone. The work that we're doing collectively as, quantum computer, multidimensional beings, this is what we're here for, is to do that unplugging from the matrix and plugging it into source consciousness. And I'm not even
You,
apologizing for the sun being in my face because it's glorious.
yeah, no. Absolutely beautifully put. Now, let me just bring this slightly a little bit more. So imagine you can bring down these source codes, and people have to, because I haven't got time to explain Kelly's wonderful story, but she's basically, I call her Kelly 2.0 because she's effectively a walk-in, and
Amazing.
she's able, which many of them, and we're going to teach people how to do this as well, to bring down pure source natural codes that we need. And we've embedded these codes in these quantum water chargers. And we talk about if you get a mobile phone, if you get a mobile phone and you measure any battery on a mobile phone, the
Mm,
spin is anti-clockwise. right? This is harvesting your energy. This is connected to the AI matrix grid. Any plastic connected to the AI matrix grid, best way to describe it, because it's the, without getting all dramatic about it, the spin of the magnetic waves are going the opposite way around. So it's coming almost into a different reality rather than us expressing and creating into our reality. Okay, so we don't have to attach any names or archives. You don't need to worry about that. It's just either going clockwise or anti-clockwise. And we're after the things that are exploding and creating into our reality. And that's what's good for us. Anything else is not. So we created these shields, which effectively has a frequency embedded, a high natural frequency that's going clockwise. And there's a picture there of the actual frequency, which also stops these ever being tampered with. And this is permanent. And when you put these on your phone, all of a sudden your phone becomes a charging device rather than a harvesting device.
Amazing.
But the thing that we really, and we don't say a lot about this in the packaging because not everybody's on this page yet, because we're putting in the natural frequencies which are already in you, you are connecting to the organic earth template grid, aka grounding, without getting your feet wet. Now, one of the side effects I fully expected to see was because people are spending more time than, it's my cat, causing trouble, small time in this grid, it would result in a shift in their consciousness because I
Ooh.
plugged them out of their matrix, right? So this is what the hope is. This is what came to me. Lola. So
My
she's
goodness.
beautiful, but daughter. So and we're seeing this happen. It's just like you were saying, when we can unplug people and collect this all together, and you can get this great supercomputer of human consciousness. We've
Mm.
started to see this. And I'll give an example about my parents. I don't think my parents will ever, well, actually, I've changed my mind now. They probably will watch it. So my parents love me very much, etc. But what they've needed to do to survive is remain in this kind of like slave matrix mentality, and they don't understand what I do at all.
Mm.
But that's okay. Come to terms, with that and various choices that they made, which I knew wouldn't be for their good. But I've let that go. But I gave them a shield maybe about 4 weeks ago, and then my dad had to go in for an operation. And so I gave him like the natural comfort and ease, which really helps, which is the neutralizing frequencies of pain. There's lots of different
Wow.
frequencies of pain. So this is great for aches, pains, headaches, toothache, actually, really good. I'm sure we'll be getting some more codes for the more critical things, but it's fantastic for that. We call it comfort and ease because we don't want like pain on the bottle because that's a terrible thing.
Okay.
So when you think about all these pain medication tablets, you're like, oh wow, this is what they're doing. Anyway, since giving them the charger, my mum rang me up. She goes, "Jo, I need to talk to you about this water charger." She said, "I've been telling your dad to put drops in his water, but not to heat the water up in case he degrades the frequency." I was like, "Don't worry, heating doesn't degrade the frequency." And then she said, "Okay, so I can put it in my cup of tea." I was like, "Yes, you can put it in your cup of tea." And she says, "Okay, so your dad says, can we have one to put on the pipe to go up to the so it goes into all the water that we ever cook with or ever use." And I was like, yeah, thinking to myself, is these the same people? So I
Wow.
goes round to see them on Tuesday, and they don't want to pay their TV license, and
Wow.
they're sick of the propaganda on the BBC. Bearing in mind, they were like news junkies, absolute news junkies. And I'm going, oh yeah, yeah, both sides of the government, they're all the same, aren't they? And I'm like, they're ranting like
Amazing.
me. So the shift in my parents' consciousness in 6 weeks, 8 weeks has been phenomenal,
Right.
absolutely incredible.
Oh my God, I'm beyond excited to the possibilities are endless for this.
Exactly, because now we're just in this, you know, on this, there's so many other things that we can do. we want to do a guerrilla project where we get some volunteers and just produce maybe much less expensive version of the shields and try and raise some money to be able to make them and go and put them in schools and care homes and community centres. So you might not change the quality of the water, but we're certainly changing the energetics of the water and the information in the water.
Mm.
So there's all sorts of
Good.
things that we're going to be working on. But a
Yeah.
lot of people, yeah, haven't seen or experienced this transformation for themselves. So shall we do the experiment?
Yeah, let's.
Because it sounds a bit, oh my gosh, that just sounds too simple. And it's, no,
Simple.
it just sounds
I'm
simpler.
I'm a great supporter of simplicity.
So this is how I measure the field, isn't it? I usually bring my, and I really like copper ones because
I've got a copper one.
it's very sensitive and you don't really get stuck energy on copper like you do crystals. And it's so what I do is as I bring mine into the field until I can feel a field, you don't really know which direction it is going, but you know
Yeah.
that there's a field. And I feel like
Here we go.
she's only got a weak field actually, but it starts about here for me.
Yeah, mine's about there.
And then I put it into the center. Now you've got to imagine there's a vortex here, and it's either going clockwise or it's going anti-clockwise. And you're trying to catch it on the spin and work out which way round. Now, another thing that you can do, you can start kind of gently spinning it one way and wait for it to catch, keep your hand still and see whether it will carry on. If it wants to go that way, you've got to not talk as well because it's not. You've also got to try not to stop it from swinging, which some people do. But if it's going the wrong way, it'll stop and it'll go the other way. So if I make this go clockwise, it feels laboured and it will stop.
Mm.
And
See,
then it'll start doing this side to side thing.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden it'll swing back the way it wants to go. And how this feels doesn't feel laboured, it feels it's growing and growing. This
Mm.
is
Mm.
dirty old water
Mm.
going anti-clockwise, just getting bigger and bigger, and you can't
See, that's weird,
see
right?
my
Because
hand. Just keeping my hands perfect.
this is my glass of tap water, and it was going clockwise for me. It was
Okay.
when I was coming up to the glass, it was going anti-clockwise there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I went into the middle of the glass, it went clockwise.
Mm-hmm. So you can, and I'm just about to show this now, you can very easily transform a field. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. Okay,
Cool.
because especially if you're holding onto something, if I was to hold this glass in my hand as well, by the way, I'm going to change the frequency. That's why I put it on the table. And if I held something in my hand of the high frequency with the right spin and the water at the same time, I don't have to, it will go through me and will transform it. And this is why it's kind of hard to do these experiments without realizing this. You've got to not contaminate your,
Yeah.
your positive, your negative, right? So if I get this, so all I'm going to do is just going to put some water on them. And watch this down there, don't I? And then I come and feel the field. See where's that starting. If those of you who feel energy, you'll feel like an energy change, a kind of wave that goes over you.
Yeah.
And then I go over the glass,
Look at that.
and now it's been right.
Amazing.
Right. So this is just to explain to people what to do. What I'm now going to do is, oh gosh, I can't. Would you mind not? Oh,
I love cats.
so
They know.
this is water now. she's, she's beautiful. She knows it, but she gets in the way. I'm going to transform the frequency of this water even more by running a quantum frequency trace on it. So the way she can do this. Ooh. And when I hold this now up to the screen, you've got a glass of water.
Mhm.
You can hold that up to the screen. The information, because water talks to water. Water talks to water. we go. Having a nice little conversation. Hello. Don't know what language it is. There we go. And then so for those guys at home, you can try it.
Mm. So you can do the same again?
Yeah. You might find the field's bigger. You see, this is stronger. Not frequency basically,
Yeah.
so this is now stronger.
It's just gently vibrating at the moment there.
Mm-hmm.
See.
Yeah, so this is
Yeah, that's going clockwise this time. Oh, hello. Getting jiggy.
getting big. I've added another frequency to this, basically. That's what I've done. This has got more than one, and so now it's just like gaining the momentum. You can see from my elbow, I'm not moving
Yeah.
it apart from most of the screen. Wow.
I think this is my pendulum that I'm using. Look at that. It's going anti-clockwise, but it's really happy. Whereas before it was clockwise.
So switch changed the field.
Yeah, yeah. For anyone who's not really ever dowsed before, oh my God, life-changing stuff when you learn to douse.
Mhm. Yeah. And just remember, if you've got a crystal, crystals can contain information. So you need to cleanse them. You put them in the earth. I usually say bury them in the earth.
Mm.
And then you can remove any stuck energy on them like that. So if you use it, or if you use like a copper one, these are really
Yeah.
helpful because they don't seem to get as much stuck energy.
No, they've got a really high frequency of copper ones, haven't they? So
Yeah, yeah. They just seem, especially if you're new to it, they can be a little bit sensitive. You'll see them. And you've just got to feel for that field, feel where it is. So the other thing, would you like me to go and get some pyramid water and transform this water again and put those information and people can go and get these codes?
yeah, absolutely. How amazing is that? Woo!
Let's go grab that.
Changing the world with water.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to drink all my electrolyte water because we're going to test this as well, I think. This is just filtered through the Berkey. And then I add my daily electrolytes, which also have astaxanthin in them. And I've put my herbal support in there as well, taking Vitex at the moment, and some skullcap and some echinacea for lymphatic support. Skullcap because it's one of the medicine cards that wanted to come out and play. So, so that if for our viewers, that's what's in my water. I've just been told I've got internet
Wow,
instability, but it comes in and out. We're really remote here, so thanks for bearing with us, guys.
nice. So I've just put, you only need to put a drop in, but this hasn't got a drop out. So this one's got water from the Dragon Pyramids, and I'll tell you a story about this. So I knew I had to go and see the dragons and the water, but I knew there was a dragon pyramid, but it doesn't actually look like a pyramid, etc. But I was dragged into all these other directions, and I managed to get the moon pyramid water, the sun pyramid water, and then on that day, I got the dragon pyramid water. And that evening, I was hanging out, just sort of helping the volunteers because it's run a lot on volunteers. And I drank this water that day, and we went to go meditate in Ravenny 3, which is kind of a new tunnels that opened, and it was pitch black. And I was, so you can't see your hand in front of your face. That's how black it was because they turned the lights out. And because no, don't do that for visitors, but because they were volunteers, they just went there to sort of charge up with all the negative ions. And then I looked to one side and I saw this square glowing portal. It was
Wow.
2 meters by 2 meters. I know what they look like now. But at first, I thought it was my eyes playing tricks on me. And so it was a really, really big thing. And I was like, because it kept like moving. So it was 2 dimensional, but it was workable, moving in 3 dimensional space. So a bit up, a bit down, a bit left, a bit right. And it was slowly coming towards me. So as it started to come towards me, this must have been about 10, 15 meters away. I started to get really nervous, right? So I said, "Oh, isn't it weird how the light plays tricks with your eyes here?" And they said, "What are you talking about, Joe? It's pitch black." And honestly, I think I nearly peed myself
Oh no.
because I was like, "There's something in here. There's something in here." And it was coming closer. And as it was coming closer, it was getting smaller. It was coming in, coming. It was there for about 45 minutes.
Wow.
And nobody else could see it but me. But I said to someone, I said, there is something here. I was describing what it was. I was paying attention to it. I calmed down and learned a lot about what it was. And what I heard was it was a ninth dimensional Arcturian portal.
Wow.
And I could see the city that you went to if you went through it. And but so I managed to calm down because it's pretty terrifying if you've never seen it. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go and find this again, right? But
Amazing.
then you're like, but I said to her, "Can I hold your hand? Because you can't see anybody." And anyway, so someone shuffled up the bench and I was holding your hand. He said, "You really can see something, can't you? Your nails are digging in me." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "You would be if you could see what I can see." So this is because there's codes unlocked. That's why you can then see something. But you know, I've decided that if I see it again, I'm gonna go through it and see what happens.
Yeah,
But
that's
guys, that,
fantastic.
that's a codes that you've got. So if you see anything weird, right, and you
Okay.
end up go, just don't blame me. This is at your own risk.
Well, portals are a thing. Stargates, yeah, we can cope. Yeah.
Mhm.
They just discover more of the beauty of our existence when we're
Absolutely.
in the presence of these multidimensional, high dimensional frequencies. It's just beautiful. Thank you for your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, and so if you ever see them in square, I can describe what they look like. They are square. That well, there must be other shaped portals, but it's square. The edges look luminescent, a bit like I would describe it as like the moon, kind of luminescence, and they're blank in between. So if you see one, perhaps you won't be so, you know, frightened like I was,
Yeah,
wondering what the hell it was.
yeah, I'm like that. I'm like, oh, what's that? What's that do?
Yeah, so I am all right about it now. I've set it in my mind so that I can do it next time. But it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, a big one when you've yeah, definitely see that.
And I think experiences like this really help because sometimes everything's normal and you don't feel like anything's getting better. And I just have to go, hang on, no, we do live in in a quantum universe and there's loads of weird stuff happening because I was there with the portal for ages. And there's all these little proofs, isn't there, that you go, don't be silly. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all good. It's all good.
exactly. And that's what I think we need to come back into our center and realize that, like what you were saying before, the matrix stuff is never, it's always funky and icky, whereas creator consciousness, high frequencies, never. It's always truth and love. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it. Always come back to love every time, no matter what's happening. Um, because it will help you navigate whatever is happening much better.
absolutely. And please charge your fields up every day, get your water there, and charge yourself with the notion that only you will only attract good things. You will only attract, those people on your path to make your life brilliant. And I think this is where this idea that we might have programs or agreements to come here and suffer. It's a program that source doesn't do that to anybody. That's not where it's from. We're literally programming ourselves. Oh, well, I'm supposed to, have X amount of trauma per year. No, you're not. It's
Yeah,
just a
where did we
program.
where's that say? Where's that written?
Go from. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
I feel, I don't know if you agree with this, that that's the biggest challenge is actually helping people realize that, because I, like you, have got so many loved ones that are trapped in this trauma cycle or whatever cycle it is. And no matter what they cannot break out of it. They might have little aha moments, but they're struggling to get to those places, you know. When we realize, and I share this meme all the time, when you realize you are the most powerful, multi-dimensional computer, your life changes beyond recognition. And I also feel, even though I don't want to feel this way, is that because most people don't realize that, they don't believe that it's true, so they never tap into that. And what I love about the work in the quantum field is you can tap into that within like 3 breaths, and you can change your existence for the better within minutes. You know, and that's the work that we're doing every day. Every opportunity we get, we try to present and express in order to activate somebody else's ability to do that shift. So this is gold, Jo. Thank you so much for everything that you're sharing here today. So what we're going to do next? Woohoo!
So I'll set people a challenge to go and investigate this for themselves, to set up their own water for themselves, and start realizing that you don't have to explain that. You're going to have people just like my parents who that they're not being horrible or anything like that. They can't access that information. You can help them access the information by working in the quantum field. Don't sit and waste your breath, you know, because you're not speaking the same language. Work in the quantum and use water. Program their water and get them to drink it. If it's a higher vibration, it always overrides a negative vibration. And likewise, people can try and poison me with negativity with my water, but it's always a lower vibration. So as long as I'm doing me, it doesn't matter. So I'm not frightened of anything. And in fact, last night was quite an interesting night. Me and Kelly seem to be quite synced at the moment. We're getting a couple of I don't know how I wrote them as like psychic attacks or thoughts or whatever you want to say to it, but basically things coming trying to enter our field because we're now, you know, we're motoring and really unlocking some stuff that if I was on and you know relied on the energy source for harvesting, then I would probably, you know, do the same thing. But that's because they don't know, you know, this is them. So at the same time as something bad was happening to Kelly, she sent me a message, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is now stopped working. And I said, I've just had something tap on my window. I mean, it was loud. It was like keys, tap, tap, tap. And so I got I put frankincense, rose, myrrh, my frequencies, my intention. And I was just going, just round singing, love, 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 putting it here. So it's all, yeah, I know you don't know what you're doing. It's all right. Just transform onto the source consciousness. Put it around. I'm not scared of nothing like that. I slept like a baby because none of that stuff scares me. They're literally in the wrong matrix. We can transform it. And water really helps. You don't have to be magical. Just tell the water what you want it to do, and
Yeah,
it'll do it.
absolutely. I mean, you know, I know I've heard you speak about Dr. Emoto's work, and I'm pretty sure everyone that's watching this knows about the frequency of water and how we can program it. But when you actually see it done this way, and the work that you're doing with everything with the crystal water experience and all that, I'm going to put the links to your website where our listeners can purchase the shields and anything else as well. So below this video, there'll be a load of links, and you can connect with Dr. Jo to learn more and follow her on her own channel as well. Because as you can see with this just about water, how amazing we can learn so much to simplify and get rid of everything negative from our life with a few simple steps, you know.
Mhm.
And that is so important that we can look after the vessel that we're inhabiting, and in turn we can look after the land that we are a deep part of, deeply connected with the land. And you know, I would love to see more of us actually not just talking about it and paying lip service to really doing the work on this level of bringing New Earth online fully and anchoring in the higher dimensions here for our humanity moving forwards. So please connect with Jo and with Kelly as well, because I feel we are in a great time of linking up communities, linking up all of us that are in our healing arts of service. So we're creating that source consciousness matrix overlaying the lower frequency density negativity on this planet, and when you hear Dolores Cannon talk and you remember all the lifetimes and timelines and parallel realities and all that everything's happening now, you can really feel it. You can feel the memories landing like a stargate opening. I have this experience a lot of activating stargates and going through interdimensional portals and all that kind of thing. Sounds fucking scary and weird and woo-woo. Well, this is the Cosmic Rebel podcast. We go all in on the woo-woo here. There's nothing out of bounds. So, buckle up, babies.
Buckle up, don't be afraid. You create your reality.
We do, we do, we
You
do.
do.
So,
Don't pay attention to anything negative in the
yeah,
spiritual community, in the whatever community. Just don't pay any attention.
yeah. And learn to tap into your intuition, those feelings that tell you there's a red flag, because there's so many of them right now, so many, and it's all external source. It's not coming direct, and it's there to distract us and to keep us occupied, to keep us away from plugging into source consciousness, super consciousness. So definitely. So Jo, what are we going to end with today before we go off and discuss part two?
As shall I quickly show the cucumber gains life force energy experiment? Shall I
Yeah.
just quickly show that through? Just because this is going to happen within you. And we got some workshops. We're starting them in January, February, March, level 1, level 2, level 3, where everybody can do this. And really, we want everybody to know how to do this because, and spread. So we do a course and teach people all of this stuff. So if you want to join us, go look on our website and bring it on, because it's not just within us. We've just figured out the biohacks of how to do this easily.
Okay.
So, we're very keen to get this shared. So if I share my screen number 2,
Yeah. Amazing.
hopefully it's got it there. But
Hey.
just check this out, guys. Just check this out. Oh, hang on. How did that happen? From that experiment 2.0. And I'm going to cut it now. This has been growing for 3 months. Ready for our next experiment. This is a store-bought cucumber though, right? So we're taking it out the packet, ready to test it against the one in the garden. An experiment measuring the life force energy of a store-bought organic cucumber versus a homegrown organic cucumber. Yeah, the rods just won't settle. It tells you it's got a very small, weak field. Whoa, check that field out. The rods are being pushed back because the field is big. This disc has frequencies embedded that are a high frequency, and it boosts your aura. So you can measure it here. If you just watch what's going, look at that field fly back again, just like the cucumber. So we get the store-bought cucumber with the weak field, we place it on just for a few seconds, and that transforms the water inside the cucumber. Check this out. Remember what it's like before? It's massive again. Can you see? Whoa, check that out.
Wow.
And by the way, so this is what's happening to you when you're transforming your biofield and you're holding your frequency. And then, if you just touch somebody's shoulder, you transfer that to them because you get them to resonate at your frequency. And we've done this live where we've got people up, transform their biofield, and they've just got a hair, dropped it on someone's shoulder. And that's transformed then for a day, 2 days. So then when you have this responsibility, guys, what you think goes in your field. So it's very important. And I'm very aware of this now. So I have to put lots of positive, I'll put healing in my field. I put transformation. I put so many things in my field because I know that I'm affecting people like on a very, very big radius. And that's why people like come to me and dogs and things like that come to me because I'm programming it. You don't have to say anything. I can just be walking in the park or in the supermarket. So I would really, for those guys out there that understand what's going on here and what we can do, please transform your fields and then go and put amazing stuff, healing, pain relief, anything. Yeah, it's all there for you.
Yeah. Do you know that is, I have no words because it's so simple and epic that, I hear people that like look at Mother Amma, all she does is hug people and changes their life, because her frequency must be so beautiful. I know that's just a guru, but it's the guru
Yeah, yeah,
thing. But it's
yeah,
just an
yeah.
example of how frequency can be. And I would love to be able to, just by being, assist people, and then help them assist other people. And it's like that knock-on activation effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the quicker we can do it, the better.
Yeah. Less drama. That's what I'm into. Let's get this done quickly
Yeah,
because we can.
yeah,
We just have
yeah.
to realize we can.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, we kind of want to enjoy the life that we have
Yeah.
without feeling that going on out there
Mm-hmm.
and seeing all the suffering and all the pain and all the horrible stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because it is there. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not that we're saying that it isn't real, it's not happening, and oh, it doesn't affect us, so therefore it doesn't matter. It does affect us. And this is
Mm-hmm.
why I feel it's really important that we keep our field and our vibration on track as activators and super quantum computers so that where everyone that is altering their field is helping to dismantle the harmful, that all that stuff that's going on out there. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we both love to hear from everyone that listens to this and wherever you're listening to it, what your thoughts and feelings are and how you're changing your life as well and others. How are you here to serve humanity? Because I do feel that every one of us can do that. We can be a force for change and not passive bystanders observing what's going on. Be present now and step up.
Beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said.
So,
Everyone's so powerful.
yeah, we are. We're beyond powerful, and I feel a lot of us are scared of that. So stop being scared. Do it. You know, we're all here to help you stop being scared. We've all been scared at some point of when we're on our awakening journey and going, "What the fuck is this?" You know. But when you get through that, you know, life just looks completely different.
Mm.
We're not looking through rose-tinted glasses. We're looking through the frequency of source connection rather than that matrix, which Joe's talked about bloody brilliantly today. An
Yeah,
amazing, amazing description.
thank you. And
So,
and we're not just we're observing it. We can change it. We can prove it. We can change it. This isn't like, and anyone can change it.
yeah,
Anyone can do it.
yeah,
So uh,
yeah. I have one final question that's just come to my mind, if I may ask. So I've done both the Berkey filtered water and the tap water. You've passed the frequency of the pyramid one to the tap water to the Berkey water and the other frequencies in that one. If I were to put this through my Berkey now, would that put the frequencies into the water in the Berkey, or would I be taking
Yeah,
it out?
no, the frequencies can't be destroyed like that.
Great.
You
So
can put oil. We've done experiments on this, by the way, to prove this. So you can even put a drop in like your incense, and then it will spread into your whole house.
Woo,
So this is why when you start realizing this, you can go, I'm just going to go and do a nice little ceremony in somewhere nice. You put the magical things in, and suddenly the whole park and everyone in it is affected by what you've just done.
amazing.
That's how powerful they are. But it only works with high frequencies. The lower frequencies are very easily degraded. And that's why it's going to be so easy for us. It's hard for them. That's why they have to keep doing it. But for us, it's very easy.
Yeah. Another aha moment, everyone.
Cool. Every day is a magical day.
Every day is totally a magical day. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I'm really looking forward to our next meeting, Joe. And we'll set that date exactly when it's perfect timing to do so. And we'll go into the realms of whatever else is ready to be spoken about. And I look forward to
Brilliant.
seeing you again, Joe.
Thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate you being on the call, and please let us know, well, what's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep in touch, everyone. And thanks very much. See you again soon.